Happy Independence Day. Because as I say these words, it is Independence Day, and trust that your day was and will continue to be a fun and safe one. Interesting times. There's a couple of ideas, especially now, when we celebrate America's birthday, that just create tension in our society and in many hearts. And, the first idea is the greatness of America, American exceptionalism, that we are this city on a hill and the greatest nation, in the world and in history. And we have that notion of American pride. And on the other end of the spectrum, we have the confrontation of the undeniable injustices that are now and part of America's history. And demanding conversation about them. You could say America's moral failure. You could say the sins of America. The tension right now in our society is high, and people are very emotional, and you might be even experiencing some emotion watching this video. People are arguing their side and demanding allegiance to their side, and one or the other. Either you love America or you hate America, or either you are going to stick your head in the sand and ignore America's sins of the past, or we're going to confront it head on. Which one is it going to be? And for me, I struggle because I love America. And I have a lot of American pride, and I do think that we are a great nation, and I do think that our history is great, and I believe in this flag, and I believe in what it stands for, and I want to respect the flag and everything that it stands for, and respect America. But at the same time, I cannot deny, I won't deny the injustice that goes on now and has been part of our story since the beginning. I will admit to and confess the sins of America and America's moral failures and the injustice and hypocrisy that must be dealt with. So I have these two conflicting thoughts. How do I reconcile them? How do I, with some intellectual honesty and integrity, deal with these two conflicting thoughts? Is it either or? Do I have to choose one? I want to share with you how I wrestle or where I stand in regards to these thoughts now. And maybe it'll help you as well as you deal with these two conflicting thoughts. And what helps me is the Christian notion of the duality of man. And basically what that means is what does the Bible say about humanity? Okay, so I want to read to you some verses now to give you an idea of where we're going here. Genesis 1:27 says that God created humans in his image. Ephesians chapter 2 verse 10 says that we humans are God's masterpiece. Psalm 8 verse 5 says that God has crowned humanity with glory and honor. And so if you read these verses, the bottom line message is that mankind is great. It is wonderful. It is glorious. Mankind is good. Optimistic view of mankind. But now some other verses from the same Bible. Romans chapter 3, 10 through 12 says that no one is righteous, not even one. That all have turned away, all have become useless. No one is good, not a single one. Jeremiah 17 verse 9 says that the human heart is most deceitful of all things and desperately wicked. This is more of a pessimistic view of mankind, focusing on the fallenness and our sinfulness. But the Bible at the very same time says that mankind is wonderful and great and deceitfully wicked and sinful. So it's not either man is great or bad, it is both at the same time. And I believe the same thing happens for America. It's not either America is great or sinful. It is at the same exact time. America is great and worthy to be celebrated. But yet at the same time, there are sins that need to be discussed, addressed, and cannot be ignored. I read a great, fantastic, wonderful speech this week by a man named Frederick Douglass. It was called What to the slave is the 4th of July. And he delivered the speech July 4th, 1852, before slavery was over, before the Civil War in Rochester, New York. And he reflects this duality of America in his speech, this both and he rejects the either or, saying you need to choose one or the other. In his speech, he says this, Frederick Douglass, former slave, the signers of the Declaration of Independence were brave men. They were great men, great enough to give fame to a great age. They were statesmen, these are our founding fathers, patriots, heroes for all the good that they did and the principles they contended for. He says, I will unite with you to honor their memory. So in this speech, what to the slave is the 4th of July, Frederick Douglass lifts up our founding fathers and the values and the principles that they founded this nation on. And he says, I will unite with you on them. But then, in the same speech, he says, the blessings which you on this day rejoice are not enjoyed in common. The rich inheritance of justice, liberty, prosperity, and independence bequeathed by your fathers is shared by you, but not by me. The 4th of July is yours, but not mine. You may rejoice, but I must mourn. And so here Frederick Douglass confronts the dark truth and the sin that all of these principles the founding fathers built our nation on were not equally distributed to everyone. And he says America must confront this if they are truly going to be that great nation. He closed with this, and it was a message of hope that I think is still relevant today. He says this, he says, I therefore leave off where I began, with hope. While drawing encouragement from the Declaration of Independence, the great principles it contains, and the genius of American institution, my spirit is also cheered by the obvious tendencies of the age, and mine is as well. And I believe that as we confront these injustices and have these conversations, that we will become, as it says in the Constitution, a more perfect union. It doesn't have to be either or. It is both and. So that being said, have the best day possible and walk in peace.